Good afternoon, everyone. Getting ready to do another race. This time we'll be in London. Already set my weight, already set my equipment. What I didn't do is a warm-up. Got ready to start one and realized it was under 6 minutes before I started the race and 5 minutes till. Usually where I quit my warm-up and come over here. So this will be interesting. Because there essentially is no warm-up here. What we got? Oh, we're all together too. Really don't like this format. So this guy in front of me is on a time trial bike. Interesting choice of equipment. It makes him more aero, but he can't draft. So this guy in front of us the guy at the front there in orange, he had like a 4 or 5 second lead on us. But he was doing all his own work. So we pulled him back in. Just by being patient. Looks like a group of 7 here. So at the beginning of the race, I tried to bridge across. Wound up catching a bee. Yelled out to him as I came up on him. He reacted kind of slow, but jumped on my wheel eventually. By that point, this group here was like 25 meters back. So just kind of let up a little bit. So I could stay with this group as it came up. Just pull back another C. Got to spit out of the back, the group in front of us. Need to pay attention, be careful there. A lot of people jostling for position right now. If you're not at the front, you'll find yourself out the back pretty quick. Looks like a couple guys from Japan. I don't recognize that other flag. That one there. South Korea. That's what that flag is. The guys right in front of me. About a lap and a half to go or so. Still holding 8 of us in the group. There were 7. We picked up that C that's been spelled at the back in kind of gray jersey. He's still hanging with us. Looks like we're about to catch a D. Last lap. So remember, this is the end of the chess game. Stretch your legs a little bit. I haven't stretched them all race. Be smart, but pay attention. So minute 26 is the next closest C. We won't catch them. So this is the race within the race. All right. There's the first C. Second C. Third, fourth, it looks like I might have got fifth again. Should have kicked earlier at the same exact time as the guy that finished in front of me, down to the 10th of a second. So some amount of hundreds of seconds separated fourth and fifth. All right, we'll make sure we have a picture. One, two, three, four new personal records on that sprint. $665 calories burned. We already had a picture, so I'll use it instead. Save this away, your screen will go black. You jump back in the game for a cool down. Get the game over here on this screen. Let's go to Paris. Do a little cool down the Champs-Élysées. I need to get out this big gear. There we go. Someone do an FTP test here. There they are. Wow, they're flying. Can't even keep up with them. There they are. All right, back to me. Get some blood back in my feet. All right, so debrief for that race. So it's a longer course, obviously, than that crit course. I've ridden that route lots of times, but I don't have it memorized every little nuance like I do the crit course when it comes to racing. And of course, every race is a little different based on who all's in the race with you. So we started out immediately. I could see as we were leaving our starting pen that the C's and D's were combined. And then if you want to go back to the very beginning of the video, when it starts, you can see as I'm rolling out there's a group coming in from the left. And that's how when I knew immediately the A's, B's, C's, and D's are all going to be riding together. So not only did I not warm up, and I tried to get one more nose blow in before the race started. But then I was really under the gun because now everyone's trying to make a jump to the front. And look at this, big Cooper. So, B. Cooper, one of the guys we were riding with, says, nice one at the end. I said, thanks. He says, I usually don't post stuff, but I followed you also. I said, thanks. It was definitely a hard move. It was definitely a hard move, but wound up paying off. He says, a nice race. I said, ditto. I said, we had a nice group there. Made for a good race. If you want to see how it played out, check me out on YouTube at another broadcasting cyclist. I recorded it. I live streamed it. So there you go. So now if he checks it out from the beginning, he'll see me talking about it. But anyway, so at the very beginning, everyone jumps, trying to make that gap. Unfortunately, the gap, the front group's going to be all the A's, and the B's are trying to hang with the A's. The C's and D's that happen to get in the bunch, they can hang. It wasn't until that last lap we were still pulling back D's, so that means there were some D's that made it into that front group. And some C's. I put in a pretty big dig early on because I wanted to make that group, and the gap was starting to form, and I thought maybe I could jump across it. And wound up passing someone, I don't remember who it is now. I think he was a B, so it might have been, was it J. Cooper or someone? I wonder if that's B. Cooper. No, J. Stone. Someone Stone. I think he was the only B in our group. So anyway, like I mentioned in the race, but I can't really talk a lot in the race or during the race, but like I mentioned in the race, I yelled at him as I was getting close. A little up, and I think he caught on. A little slow, but he caught on, jumped on my wheel. Unfortunately, we still had like 4 seconds to go to bridge across, and the group behind me, which is the group that we wound up riding with the whole time after that, was only 2 seconds back. So Decided at that point, just let up, jump into the group coming up behind us, and that's who we raced with the rest of the race. Let's see, so how'd the race play out? You know, there was some times where people were surging, so you definitely had to pay attention, because with only a group of 7 and then later became 8, you could very quickly go from the front to the back and then right out the back if you weren't paying attention. So definitely had to pay attention there. What else? Feeling pretty strong on the climb. Spent most of my time in the low 160s. And my heart rate actually hit below 160 for a little bit. So I was feeling good about that. In order for me to do that, though, I need to take my cadence way down from what I'm used to doing. And when I do that, I'm relaxing my cardiovascular system quite a bit, but I'm putting more strain on my muscle group. And it's like more like doing weights instead of running, for example. And look at this guy, he's doing an FTP test. Give him a thumbs up real quick on the list there. There you go. So anyway, at one point the thought crossed my mind, I need to make sure that legs don't cramp up, but they were fine. And what else? Did a little bit of workout in front. Wasn't necessarily trying to, but wasn't trying to avoid it either too much. Try to stay toward the front most of the time. Like I said, that guy from South Korea wanted to do quite a bit of work up front. So I let him. Let's take a quick look at the actual activity. Oh, so B. Cooper, the guy I was just texting with, was the guy on the time trial bike. So if you're watching this, kudos to you, because I could tell that B. Cooper was riding strong. He was on the time trial bike, so he didn't get our draft benefit. But even without the draft, he could stay with the group, put some big digs up front. And there was a couple times where he would bridge some gaps and potentially right out the front. So I want to keep an eye on him. And big kudos to you, B. Cooper, because on that last little climb, it was you and me and the guy from South Korea. What was his name? Yes, Bongyun. The guy in the orange jersey. I'm pretty sure the three of us, maybe the guy with the green jersey, which I think was Suzuki. Suzuki might have been the guy in the green jersey. Anyway, very quickly as we started in that climb, I didn't want to necessarily make a move because I was still a pretty good distance from the end. I want to say somewhere around a mile. And I didn't feel confident that with a mile to go, I could jump away from a group of 8 and solo to the finish. When I was younger, I would have tried it. I have lots of examples of that not working. I think I have one example way back when I was in high school where it did work. And unfortunately then that always led me to believe I could do it again. And it never played out after that. So anyway, I wasn't trying to make that move, but I also didn't want to just let up and give another thumbs up here to another FTP rider. Didn't want to just let up and let the race happen. So I'm more interested in making the race happen within reason. So definitely a decisive move. Kept the pressure going. It was down to just the three of us. And as we kept the pressure on, the guy from South Korea faded. And the guy from South Korea faded. And B. Cooper on the time trial frame was still going strong. I grabbed his wheel. We continued up the climb. And he never let up on the power. He just kept the power rolling as we crested the top. And he immediately had a gap on everyone. It's 4 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, 7 meters. And I thought, all right, here we go. And he wasn't letting up. So again, kudos to you, B. Cooper. You made that move, made it happen. And jumped on his wheel. We quickly had that gap just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know if everyone else was gassed or if they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do and who wanted to do the chasing. But that was it. And then at one point, so the guys at the bottom, once they get below or farther back than 50 meters, not only do the names keep getting smaller and smaller, but the meters number disappears. And that happened. So I knew we had 50 meters on them. And then at one point they came back. They came back to within, I think 25, 27 meters. That was a move, though, that once you commit to it, you can't give up on it. So even though B. Cooper couldn't draft off me, I jumped in front of him, tried to do everything I could to keep us moving. At one point, he came back around me, and I did everything I could just to grab onto his wheel again. And we held him to somewhere in the 32 meter mark. And that's where I knew we had the race. And thought about just writing it in, but thought, no, I'm going to give it one more dig. Unfortunately, I waited too long. And I should have dug earlier. And wound up losing to B. Cooper, so my hat's off to you. Nice work, you made the move. So, can't be upset about that. You could argue that you rightly deserve that win between the two of us. And maybe I should have just let it go. Looking back on it, wasn't thinking about it at the time. So, anyway, that's the recap. All in all, a good race. I enjoyed it. I'm going to see if I can't find more of those longer races now that I am more confident in my abilities and more comfortable racing quote-unquote longer distances. 20 miles isn't long, but 20 miles at back when I was doing everything I could just to not explode and hang onto a wheel, 20 miles would have been forever. So I'll see if I can't find more road races, because I think I do enjoy them more. Anyway, I was going to take us to 4 miles. Maybe I'll take us to 5. But anyway, that was it. That was the race recap. I'll take a look at my Garmin data real quick. Looks like average 24.4 miles an hour with a max speed of 33.2. Average heart rate of 164 with a, average, 164 with a max of 178, which is definitely that sprint. Average only 211 watts. So, from a strategy standpoint, don't get too far back. From a strategy standpoint, you could argue that I was staying out of the wind well. And max power was 554 watts, which again was probably that sprint. Average bike cadence of 81, which to me just seems like I'm grinding. Max of 111. Burned 664 calories. So anyway, that's the recap. Max speed of 33.2 was at the sprint as well. That was the max speed. That was the max heart rate. That was the max power, maybe. Somewhere in there. My driver's going to drive me insane here. But all in all, like I say, a good race. I enjoyed it. I learned that like every race I learned something, and it could be that if nothing else, all I learned is what I'm capable of doing. And when I started the ride without any warm-up, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so definitely felt good about the outcome there. So we're about to hit 5 miles. Nice cool down. Heart rate sitting around 120. And there's our 5 miles. All right. So with that, hope you enjoyed the race. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to be notified when I do go live or post anything, hit that subscribe button. Down in the comments, I'll leave my Garmin data. I'll leave a link to the hydration product I use called H2O. And I'll also leave a link to the maps of Zwift. If there's something you want to see me ride, or even if I've ridden it, or you want to see me ride the other direction, or you want to just go for a ride, hit me up in the comments or on Zwift, and we'll hook something up. So it's a bit of a longer one. I'm including the cool down, but again, good race, 50 some odd minutes of racing, and all right, with that, I will call it. I will see everyone in the virtual world. Keep Zwifting. and ride on.